Brian and I and Skelly, Brian Fedler, Wilson.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
We can count Bob.
Nine. We have 4 with Bob, don't we? Six, Campbell, Wilson, and Hanky. Oh, we got Cassie. Cassie just got in. Okay, so Brian made the motion and Daryl seconded it. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, it's approved.
I was here before, I just didn't have video yet.
Oh, okay.
Once in a while, I'm on time.
Staffing department request. We start with buildings and grounds.
All right, I have a backfill for a secretary to the superintendent of buildings and grounds. This is due to a resignation,
Straight back though.
straight back.
So
Okay. Brian,
Second.
Cassie, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next.
We have a lifeguard laborer due to a resignation as well to straight backfill.
move it.
Second.
Brian and Cassie. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
What are the odds of finding one of them?
Yeah, what are the odds? We just hired him and we just lost him? Okay.
It's got a bunch going through class yesterday, so we should have.
And tomorrow too.
Oh, okay. Where's the class?
40 on Beach.
Oh, okay.
Actually, tomorrow's at Hudson Falls School.
Okay. All right, let's go on to DPW. Got a couple of them, right?
This is actually, DPW requested an upgrade for eligible highway worker 2s to 3s during the construction season. This was actually approved in Public Works back in March, but we did not bring it to Personnel Committee. So we do have to ask for a temporarily change the staffing pattern to allow the highway 2s to highway 3s during the time of the summer construction season. This is done every year, and that doesn't have a fixed number of highway 2s that'll go to 3s. It depends on the need. This does require an MOA where the chairman would have to sign that. So, and it would also need to be approved by the board.
This is always something you do every year.
Yes.
Just a formality. pretty much.
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right.
So moved.
Second.
Cassie? Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed, carried. So we're good there. All right. I've got that taken care of.
Okay,
Jump right to probation, or is there more DPW?
that was it for DPW
Okay.
for now. So probation has a backfill of a probation officer trainee that due to a resignation.
So moved.
Second.
Dave? Brian?
Second.
Cassie? Dan?
This isn't what he discussed the other day, though, right?
No,
Okay, that's what I thought, because that one, I didn't think there was salary with that.
correct.
That was a
Oh, right. Right, this is a.
This is just a straight
Someone's
backfill.
leaving, we're
And I
bringing
just
in
wanted
training.
that clear because this kind of dovetails right off what that whole discussion was on.
Well, what we don't know, Dan, is if this open position will be filled by that trainee.
Right, yes, I agree with you. But that one isn't supposed to be paid for, the one that we're getting.
Correct. The trainee will be paid by the military until such time that they are no longer in the service. Yep.
And they'd like to backfill this ASAP as they could. right?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay. Next,
Services.
social services.
So social services has a backfill for a senior account clerk, and this is due to a retirement. This is a straight back.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay,
Other business. So our other business is just to mention that our retirees for April through June, in your packets are the list of the names. At the Board of Supervisors meeting, the chairman will announce those people and department heads or someone in their department will be there to accept their plaques for them. So that's just a note that's happening.
It's a lot of 30-year people. Wow.
Yeah,
Look at public health.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's a couple centuries worth of service here. Wow, is right.
yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, so now we have some personnel department issues.
Yep, personnel, I'm just FYI that the civil service, personnel officers and civil service officers, they scheduled the event, their annual conference for October. So I'm just noting that, myself and a staff member would like to attend that conference, and it is budgeted and was approved in our travel.
Standard
Yes.
procedure. So we have a request for overnight travel for their conference.
So moved.
Second.
So,
Where is it?
Tioga Downs.
Oh, you can't.
It's in southern New York. Yeah.
By there.
Is there a direct flight there?
Quite assessment.
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay,
The next item is the fair week. I would like to send some staff there with the LDC to do some recruitment. So in your packet, I have these little cards that we were going to hand out. And also I wanted to ask if any of you in the town would like us to make these up to place at the town. It is how anyone can stay notified on the website. They would sign up to be notified through the email to receive all of our employment opportunities and exam announcements. So I don't know if that's something you guys want to put in your towns, but if so, just let me know and we can make them up for you. But we're also hoping to have them at the fair as well to hand out. And yep.
Will you be putting this on social media as well, so we can share on pages?
We have it through Facebook,
Yes.
but it's, I want to check more into that about social media because I want the direct line. Right now, we put it on our website and it automatically goes to Facebook.
Okay.
So we're still working on more of the social media end of it so that we have more capabilities of putting more things out there too. So, yep.
Is it James, is that something we should put on our town webpage? It's a link they could just.
That's what I want to do. I want to take this one,
Yeah.
this picture, and then put a link right in the message so that they can go right to the
Awesome.
camera.
I
I
would
can
think that
work
would make
with-
sense because sometimes we get asked, we don't even know. But if that's there, we can just hit the link and
Yeah,
look.
or I can just copy that,
Right.
just send it to somebody.
Yeah.
yeah,
Where are you gonna be in the fair?
The county bounty building
Good.
by yourself or with somebody else?
will be with
With
Laura.
Yeah,
With
so,
Laura.
yeah, I had spoken to Laura and Danielle about recruitment and the missed opportunity that we seem to have every year at the fair. We never really seem to talk about positions that the county has available or opportunities. If anyone is interested in county employment, whether it be in law enforcement or any of the other positions or departments. So we kind of think that this might be a good opportunity to get that information out to the public. So something new, but we're gonna try it, and Laura offered if we kind of help in the booth a little bit, since it's just her and Pamela usually, the personnel can help do that, we can get some information out, so.
And this is just one.
Right by the money.
Yeah,
Well,
right by-
that's usually good, but this year they haven't, I think 5 of the days are gonna be craft beer days.
Well, for
Yeah.
sure, people that-
Bob, isn't that better?
I thought there was a secret. They weren't gonna tell us because that's where the beverages are.
Nobody in there does any business other than that,
There's gonna be meat in there too.
which is gross.
So,
Where the deputies are in the building as you walk right into the fairgrounds, is there a way to do a link or something there? Because that's kind of there, it's there looking for too. And there's a lot of younger people that go in there.
I think we
And
wanted,
It's been great.
yeah, I think we wanted to leave something at the sheriff's building as well, more of information for that recruitment too, I
It'd be
think.
nice if we could kind of do that with all of the departments,
Yeah.
including
Yeah.
public health
Right.
and everyone who has a booth.
Where we
to get
can.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to have the building now.
Can we do
That would be a great idea.
Can we build a James?
It's only been 40 years.
And do the QR code?
Oh, yeah.
Do the QR code, you'll get the younger,
Make something
just
right
take a
up.
picture with their phone and then.
Do you know how to do that?
I don't, but it's really not that hard. I think there's actually a website you can go to, where you put the link in there, and it spits out a QR code for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you have that and every one of the booths, they'll just take a picture with their phone. they'll go
Check with
away.
IT. Yeah,
Okay.
well,
We definitely will be able
We'll think it's our engine though, now let's see what's.
I know, right?
Dave, would you like to say something, Dave?
I would.
You would, but nobody let you in.
So majority of the traffic comes in the back gate. So it might be good to have something there versus sheriff's building.
That's true.
Cassie,
I'm not sure.
would you like to add to this discussion?
I really don't think you want anything by the entrance gate because that's already a problem for a bottleneck. So I don't think you really want to have anything there and encourage people to stand there and look at stuff if you want to keep going into the fairgrounds. Because as soon as they're a bottleneck, they look around to see why. Which, are you going every single day, all day? Are you just going during the week? What days are you planning on being there?
We're hoping as much as we can, depending on our staffing.
Well,
Here,
I think you might want to look at the type of days. Like if you're short on a day you might not be able to cover, maybe you don't want to be out there as hard and force on Senior Citizens Day because they wouldn't have the, you know what I'm saying? If you're having trouble covering a day, you should look at that, at what's actually going on the grounds that day as to whether or not you would have people there that you would be looking to recruit. So
and
maybe
it would be
You
more
don't want to
of,
hire any senior citizens?
I don't know, they have work ethic, I think we should get
Well, they have good
that.
work ethic, but I'm saying if we can't cover a day, then you probably should be covering, say, if you're doing the weekend on Saturday or Tuesday, or maybe even Thursday, because that's Children's Day and you would have young adults and, you know, parents in there and you could find a workforce there, but maybe not on Wednesday if you're looking for a day you can't staff because your pool might not be as big. It's kind of a
and I
quieter.
think mostly we're full staff that week right now, but you know, things come up, we'll be flexible with that. And work with.
We'll probably be lining up for the tasting nights.
Emma Beeston's gonna be in the booth next year.
And that's what's nice with the QR
And
code.
Black Dog is gonna be there too.
Oh, right on it.
I have no idea. Do we pass that, Debbie?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, actually, my request for that
No, they, right.
leads into, I wanted to purchase some pens with the civil service information on it to hand out too.
With the logo, right?
Yeah,
So
if
you
we
need
can,
approval
if we
for the
can
logo.
fit the logo on them, but yeah,
Even the website would be helpful.
yeah.
Got a motion to do all that fair stuff.
Second,
Chris, we have a second.
yep.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
Now, wait, what was the amount of money that you approved just there?
In her budget. She wants to buy pens that she has in the budget.
Okay.
It won't be that much. We'll remain within the budget for it.
We have one more other.
We do have
You do?
other items.
That's right. You always put something that's not on there just so that people won't know. So you keep bringing it back every month just to see what's coming up.
Someone had to take Patty's.
It's kind of a tease.
So, last night, the Fort Ann Central School, I don't know yet if they've approved it, but they were working to add a special patrol officer to the school with a contract with the sheriff's department. What we would have to do with this is add the amount, which would be $30.16 per hour. That's the base rate for SPO for the Fort Ann school. We would have to add it to the non-union salary schedule on the bottom.
So basically 40 and wants to add an SPL for the fall. And they decided at last night's board meeting. Sam, do you know if they passed it at last night's board meeting? We assume they did.
I haven't heard until.
I assume they did, Matt, but I don't know that to be factual.
Okay.
Right, same.
And if that being the case, we want to get this taken care of instead of waiting another month and get it on the staffing pattern and get this all taken care of it. And it is number 6.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
out of 8,
Out of 8 schools?
special patrol officers.
Special patrol officers. Okay, so we're just adding the Fort school and we're getting the paperwork and everything done through civil service that we need
Is
to
this
do.
their first one or are they getting a second?
This is their only.
This is their only one. They haven't had one prior to this. Right. So then we'll need to do this through the board because we're changing the staffing pattern.
I believe the contracts for the current SPOs, isn't that, they expire soon, right? End of the school year, so there should be new contracts for the others as well, so that we could just add this one to the rest.
Right.
The sheriff signs those. I don't think we've done resolutions to sign those SPO contracts.
No, we just need it.
Yeah.
We're just adding the
Staffing.
staffing pattern.
Just for the rates.
Right, just for the
Yeah.
rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we'll just amend the rates.
Right.
We don't have to do one off. We can do it.
You have a question, Dana?
I was gonna say, we do resolutions, but they're usually all together, all the SCPOs, but
And this one was just the, actually, let me see. They said August 1st would be the date that it's effective. So it may be different for the
Because
others.
usually they have training in August, so being new, that's
but
probably.
we also
why.
approve the money. Roger says this is staffing pattern, but we also approve the dollar amount per hour of each one.
You don't approve the contract.
So, right, so it's already decided for us. The numbers decided by the contract, we're just,
But then what do we, then why do we do it?
we have to recognize the revenue and the expense.
To get them paid. And the
But also
staffing.
goes on our title by grade schedule.
Dan?
Yeah, it seemed like when we started this, and refresh my memory on, each school set their hourly rate.
Correct.
We signed the contract.
The sheriff signed the contract.
Well, somebody signs a contract. Well, wasn't there gonna be at the end of the, of 1 year or sometime, a review and see if there was additional cost to the county and for this process? And if there was, it was gonna have to be added on to that, so there was no cost to the county. Was there any
That was the
discussion?
discussion at that time, yes.
Yeah,
And
and
whether it's been reviewed or not, I have no idea.
It's my understanding that it's reviewed every year
I
when
would
the
believe-
contracts come in with the sheriff's office, that they review the actual expenses that take place and make sure that that's covered in those.
so
contracts.
we actually, whatever the hourly rate is, there's actually is higher than that because the county has expenses to cover that.
The actual cost, I believe that is. the case.
Well, I mean, that should be reviewed if that's the case.
It's reviewed at the sheriff's level, right?
Well, this is
Yes.
at the treasurer's office. I'm just asking, I don't know.
At the time, the sheriff said that if there were any incidental costs, it wouldn't matter because it's still carried by the school.
Right.
As per that contract. So if there is some secret cost, it wouldn't matter. We still don't pay for it.
And you say that, but we don't know what the costs were. So that's why the review process was going to occur. That's all I'm asking. Did it get reviewed? I'm not
He
in
was the
any
one
way
doing the
pointing
review.
fingers anywhere. I'm just saying, does it get reviewed?
The sheriff does the contract with the school, so.
Yeah, that's
The county shall be responsible for paying all salary, benefits, training, insurance, taxes, and equipment and other costs associated with the SBO. But that's based upon the fact that they're gonna pay us $45,207.10 right? If it's reviewed by the sheriff, it's not reviewed by any committee or any board that I'm aware of.
That's the way I understood it at the time.
Yep, I'm sorry, sir.
If I remember correctly, it was each school was designed their own contract for what the usage was and how many hours and whether it was after school hours or before school.
They're all different.
Yes.
Correct.
They're all different rates.
And when do they pay us? Once a year? Back or
They bill them
weekly or
They get billed 10 monthly.
10 monthly installments.
10 months?
And then there's a reconciliation at the end based on whether or not we supplied the hours in the contract.
Yeah.
If we go under, we owe that money back. If we go over, they send us the money. So there's a true up on
Okay,
by,
so it is reviewed.
by July 15th, there's a true up on
Good.
what we actually provided against what we actually billed. And I just completed that yesterday.
And was it pretty, to what you expected?
3 we owe, 3 owe us, and it's almost a wash in total dollars. Yeah, there was one school that was really under hours, but there was another one that was over just about as much.
We had a motion in a second, Debbie, on that, to approve the staffing pattern change.
to add to the.
Nobody yet? And that's right. So the salary schedule, moved by Brian, seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Now we go to the full board just because of the formality. Get that taken care of. Okay, I think that covers most everything we had agenda wise. Anybody else have anything for personnel today? It's not? Adjourned.
You lucky guy.
I got everything there.
I was like, we're gonna shoot the bill right there.
So I think, what do you want? I'll find out my ready.
I can take it online.
That's good cheating the atmosphere then, right? So, yeah. You got the, Michelle made the post. Right before I left work. She made the post right before I left work, like 5 o'clock yesterday. And she wasn't coming back with the because of, so it's all in transition. And, then last night.
That only took 3 days off, right?
Yeah, so it's just a matter of, they couldn't take them to vacation. And she lost her.
Anything else?
I think they've got everything else.
Oh, I thought he could drop it. You were the first one I gave it to.
I know, and that's the. Thank you.
Okay, finance to order. I need a motion to accept the minutes of the June 9th meeting, moved by Dave O'Brien, second by Cassie. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Snowmobile Trail Grant Program, secret request for things in, I see Dave Perkins is on. Dave, did you want to say something about that?
I would just thank you to the committee first for taking this issue up. This is usually done through the Ag Planning Committee. But we're under we've gone by a deadline, so we need to act as soon as possible. Each year we need to let parks know if we are requesting a trail reroute change. The Hartford Club has to do one. It's going to be about 2.5 miles of a different trail route. It's following old trails, so it's not going to require any trail construction of any sort. What the county association is requesting is that and I'm going to have to defer to Roger for the appropriate wording of this, but we need a negative declaration with the appropriate seeker form to the board of supervisors for their approval to send this into parks.
Throw me in your bed.
Well, we're gonna, at the meeting, say we reviewed this, so please use your time to review it, so that they reviewed it, we actually.
Okay, so this is resolution A and B, and since we're right in, let's take care of those. I have a motion for resolution A.
So
Move
move.
it.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, we're good.
I got Daryl.
Who's that?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, resolution B is review with the seeker. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second by Daryl.
Second.
Okay, yeah. Any discussion?
We should have discussion just to say that this is just a trail reroute over the same kind of property that they go over all the time. It's not gonna change the character of the land, it's not gonna be anything other than a seasonal use over the top of snow, so that's why it's negative.
Just the change in the characters going over it.
Well, yeah, I think probably the characters going over it is why they had to be rooted. That's another subject.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thanks, Dave. Okay, moving on, we got the county treasurer's monthly report.
The good news is you don't have a lot that you're gonna hear from me today, but unfortunately what you're gonna hear from me is not as rosy as it's been. The people in the room have a packet that's been printed in color, so you can see the happy red line that happened on June 30th. So much to my chagrin and possibly the budget officer's chagrin, there was a large adjustment on June 30th of $1 million. So our $1.5 million surplus it's still at $500,000, but we took a big $1 million hit. My concern is attached to that sheet is the second page in your packet. I gave you the note that the county fiscal officers were provided by Dave Lucas from NISAC, explaining that it's a change in how tax and finance kind of their methodology on dispersing the interim payments. So during COVID, it was a big shift to the counties, the 57 counties, and out of the New York City area. And now that shift has gone back from the 57 counties back to the New York City area. Dave explains that in this email better than I possibly could. The thing that scared me a little bit was Dave's email also says, by the way, I think this is going to continue. Expect a couple of more of these true-up shifts to the city as they have reopened and are doing almost business as usual again. Their sales taxes is back on track. So they've looked at a multi-year model now at tax and finance on how they distribute the monies. Now, true-up is still a true-up. So I will tell you that our July 13th deposit, you see the next one, that is actually a true-up payment. So if tax and finance gets wrong, we will get whatever money was actually due us. If they were right, you might see another red line there. So I can't even venture a guess of any intelligence for you all. I apologize, but there's just nothing. There's nothing I can hang my hat on that's of any substance, other than I am concerned that he said that this shift will be continuing into the second, third, and possibly fourth quarters. So we'll keep our eye on the prize and see what happens. But and remember too, the next deposit, the July 13th deposit, is the last deposit for calculating the disbursement to the towns and villages for 2023. So right now you are already over last year. So even if July 13th it was zero, your distribution next year is already more than it was for 2022. So any money that comes in is going to help the distribution. The concern is if we are on a downward swipe, it's going to start a new downward trend for you for 2024. Let's hope that's not the case.
Looks like the biggest downward swipe is down the Hudson.
And what's very interesting is with the next payment, you will probably be above last year's yearly total at the county. You're within a couple 100,000 of it, it was 700,000, so I'd have to drop $500,000 to get you under what our actual was for the year. So it's not all bad news. We're still in pretty good shape that way. But we looked.
We still spent $1 million in New York City.
We looked at a quick history yesterday. I haven't gone all the way back, but the second half has always been bigger than the first half. So if we're somewhere around 13 million, then it's always been bigger. We're still on track to do what we did last year. So unless it really has contracted that much, and I think the lack of new cars being delivered is probably playing a big role. That's probably not all of it.
I don't think it's that full.
I mean, we're still up for the year. I mean, it's not complete bad news, but $1 million hit is $1 million hit. Right? And being told that it's not the only one you're going to get is a little bit disconcerting.
Yep.
With some of the other counties that shared through the listserv, Oneida County was down 42%, St. Lawrence 54%, Columbia 47%, Essex 46%, Orleans 60%, Herkimer 58%, Wayne 51%, Weaver 64%, Harry 37, Otsego took a 93% hit. Sullivan 67, Montgomery 21, Ulster 35, and Erie 35. So there's some pretty substantial hits to the non-city counties, the 57 counties. So across the board, it was a big shift from the 57 to the 5. So like I said, I don't have anything that I can really give you of any hope or disaster. July 13th will be an important deposit, and I will make sure that when it comes in, I will reshare this with you all then, so that you have the information as it comes in. And it will also determine your allocation for next year. So that's helpful. On your cash balance sheet, things are really decent right now compared to where we've been. The one item of note, the insured cash sweep account, which is where I send our money to a special program I have through Wentworth National, their rate is up to 1.4%. I haven't seen that in a while. We were at 0.15 for most of the past 5 years.
It's almost 10 times better.
And the other thing is they've come to me with 2 new products that are even higher than that. One of them is 1.87, one is touch over 2 for some longer term investments. I'll be looking into those because at least our reserve monies, there's no harm in going a little bit longer with them. So right now, if I can grab 2, 2.25 on a 2 or 3 year note, I'm going to look into them. So we'll have a little bit of interest income that we haven't seen in a little while. And then as far as the budget to actual, we're pretty much on track. This looks a little bit skewed because the second tranche of stimulus money's in, so it's $5.4 million revenue that is a spike. Yes, it's in. Yeah. Yeah. So we received ours. I forgot when I reported out. Recorded. I think you said. Yeah, it would have been last finance even.
That's fine.
Come in just that morning. So the work group, sorry, I can't call it the wrong thing, I'll get in trouble. The work group will convene at some point and discuss the next steps. But I haven't seen any desire to go much off script from what's already there. And that work group will report back to the board.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Yeah, go ahead, Dana.
How the bank account statement, the top line, the mortgage tax, $204,000. We're probably going to see a crash in our mortgage tax collection, so that maybe what we really realized in the last 2 years is probably going to be washed by nothing in the next 2 years because interest rates have gone up. I've also heard that banks suspect that in a couple of years they're going to have a very large amount of properties, bank foreclosures, because people that bought all these homes, their IRA and 401ks are now nothing. That they bought these homes thinking, oh my God, look at all the money we have, we can afford it. Now they can't. When do you think you would start noticing the contraction? How much of the lag is this? I see you get it monthly.
We get it monthly. But if I'm any judge of the market, I don't do this for a living, so bear with me, but I think it's going to be spring of next year before you feel any of the real downturn.
The stock market would have to go below 30,000.
I'm a little bit more
been that way for days.
So I'm a little bit more concerned.
It's staying right around 30,000. It would have to go down. Right, it'd have to go back to 20 to really do the damage that you're
Right, but
referring
people
to.
have lost like up to 30% of their IRA before the value they.
I'm more concerned about the inventory that was bought at these escalated prices. People cashing out of them. These housing prices eventually are not going to be realistic. And it may be the first time in our history that you see people selling at a cost that's lower than what they bought at. It's going to happen.
It's going to be very interesting.
Because they were inflated purchase prices.
But over the last 6 recessions, the market value of homes has only gone down twice.
Yes.
And in 1991, it was only down 2%.
Right.
08 was when they went down 20%. Every other recession, market values have stayed consistent or actually risen.
Right.
So I'm interested to see where this plays out, because history tells us that.
That's not, that's not the case.
Right.
The only thing
There's
that
nothing
stays
about
value
this
is land.
market that we're in right now,
Yeah.
that you can match any historical
I
thing
know,
to, because it doesn't make sense.
We got $2 trillion into our savings, and now we got to deal with it.
And we can't find people to work. I mean, normally there's large unemployment, and that's not the case.
Where are they all?
So,
Well, so we have 11.2 million jobs open. We have 3 million 16 and 19-year-olds who are not in the workforce. I mean, there's gaps there that need to be filled. And these are issues well above our. Right.
and if any of these downstate people that bought upstate that ever decide to return, to their former life, these properties are gonna not turn over at the price they bought them, and I don't see that happen.
Some of the executives I've been speaking with, because they're pulling some of these deals I've been working on, are being pulled back. They've had to lay off the more workers that they hired. So those are the first line from what I'm hearing from some retail executives. They're laying off remote workers first. Then on-site.
The Bitcoin mining people were the first to go.
Well, that's.
They weren't on the radar to begin with.
I think the important thing is that when we do our next budget, 2023 budget in the towns, don't be optimistic and re-budget the income you get from
Right.
mortgage tax based upon you got twice as much.
And you probably didn't raise it a lot last year, not knowing it was gonna go crazy either, so you probably haven't got to make a big adjustment even. You probably got revenue that you didn't expect to be there.
If you
Yeah,
look at a 5-year trend, you're probably gonna be safe.
I'm double what I budgeted for.
Well, me too, but we did not.
I did not either. That's why I'm
Right.
double.
Yeah.
And a lot of you do the same thing with your sales tax. You
Right.
don't budget an increase in that.
well, with our sales tax, we just budget the number because we have it in
Right.
advance. So it makes it easy.
So we can be accurate with one number.
Well, one number's gonna be right.
I know one's coming in. Yeah. But Mr. Happy, you have
Are
a
you
good
think you
point.
said spring of
Yes.
23, you think?
My gut tells me that will be the first distribution that you'll see a difference.
Why? Because if this is monthly, if you collect your mortgage tax monthly, people are
No,
not
you just
buying
distribute
it.
But we haven't seen the reaction in the market yet.
Right, I think there's a
There's only just 2 distributions to the towns.
No, I'm talking, the county's income is monthly based upon this
Right.
spreadsheet. So what month do you think you're gonna notice, oh my gosh, we're not getting anything? It should be very current.
There's a 60-day lag, 90-day lag, or is it 30 day?
And I'm more than happy to report back if I see, if I start seeing a downturn, I'm more than happy to report back that, hey, the cycle has begun. So
Are you at least level now, or are you still going up?
No, I think it's pretty much leveled off. I would have to check the records, but
So the one question I'd have on that is, we've had a lot of buyers buy cash, did not pay mortgage tax. So now do we have more people that actually borrow that would be paying mortgage tax, and that other group go away?
you're gonna have.
That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna have less cash buyers, so I'm thinking your mortgage tax might not vary as much as you think, because those big buys, there was no mortgage tax. That's another thing to
You will have
consider.
less cash buyers for sure.
Yeah.
The problem is that as these properties went up, they're gonna have to start coming down before our local people can get 45 back again. A lot of these properties were priced way out of the locals, individuals, residents' budgets.
A lot of those that came here though, didn't come here to leave their stuff. Absolutely, that's the case from the ones I've seen in our area.
Alan, do you collect mortgage tax on refinancing loans?
Sometimes.
Just sometimes, not
Sometimes,
every
because the
time.
answer-
So the answer is sometimes, and the county clerk can speak to that more intelligently than I can. She's the one that runs that program, but
Because
there
that's
are.
gonna go away to refinance because the interest rates are climbing, not falling.
And I won't get it right, but there is, the credit union even collects different than the bank collects, so it's sometimes there's,
Even our 2 additional mortgage tax
Yes.
laws are written differently, depending on. So,
it's not what you think, any of it, it's.
I have another question.
Yep.
Since we're still talking about mortgage tax, a while back, you were gonna explain why the supplemental, so many towns are bracketed in the same amount, the original distribution, no one's the same. Remember the question I said, like everyone is $901 or something like
and
that?
I talked to the county clerk, and she confirmed that that's the number. I didn't have her send me her worksheet, but I did make a phone call to her, and she reviewed her She claims that that's just how it came out, so.
I don't believe it. That mathematically, it's improbable that you have so many of the same numbers of the supplemental distribution, but the original amount, nobody is the same. It defies logic.
I can actually, if we can ask her to come to the committee, or I can get her worksheets from her, so I can follow up.
You gotta see the math.
And I can do that, or we can bring her up and talk to her.
And it might work just like dues do with NICEAC, that if you're between this number and this number, this is your price. So everybody between this number and this number, this is your number. I mean, it might work that way.
But you think it would be tied to the original distribution instead of a whole different math formula.
And I can get that from Stephanie if that's helpful.
It might be perfect. I just want to know the explanation as to why.
Be very interesting.
And after we left the finance meeting about the allocation of sales taxes made, you know, it was 7% of 100%. Now that developed, and if that percentage rate was
It's decided by the
not
board.
changed,
No, it was decided by the board
was decided by the board. So
because it was a flat $1 million
if we
before.
didn't lose $1 million, but it went up to 10% of the distribution.
Anything's
They're just thinking about it because they know.
If the total goes up, why would you increase the percentage? We're already getting more.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I understand and appreciate that, but what I was thinking is that there's probably every single town. Fuel costs increase.
So this is what the argument was the last time when we went from $1 million to 7%. The argument was that the county was in this much better shape from selling of PVI and the change in sales tax. All at once, and the town has no other means of getting extra revenue, that it was time to basically share more. When you basically were getting to that same point again until this $1 million decrease. Which might you might still be able to change it, but maybe not near as much as originally thought. But that's where it was you had that opportunity to share more, because if you go from 20 million to 28 million, you know, you got that 40% increase that, yeah, you're getting 7% of the increase, but that's still a huge change. The best way to keep taxes low to our citizens, you can't be taxing the heck out of them at the town level just to look at the county level. So if you could share that more, that was the whole idea. That was the whole idea behind it. So it'll all be looked at. It just that $1 million changed a lot of the law.
That was my point, though.
Yeah.
We're going to go from 7%
You
to
could go,
10%.
and I think Dan mentioned that you could go to A.
Because you're just two different lines on the same bill.
Every county shares it.
Right, so we can share however we want to. So, I mean, Dan brought it up to go to 8%, so, yeah.
I didn't say 8, I said increase it.
No, you said 8 at the meeting. I was there.
I didn't know we were at 7, so how could I have said 8? I just said increase.
I'm telling you what you said because I was there. Yeah.
There's an actual local law.
This is the fairest way because the county gains, right game. Right, if the county loses, we lose. That's equitable.
But the reason you change it is because when it changes drastically like that, the county has all the ability to use that to do whatever and offset, which is nice. But at the same time, the town doesn't. So the town lags behind and has to tax more because their costs, your fuel expense is a bigger percentage at your town level than it is at the county level. That's exactly what we're.
Remember too, there's only 4 counties left in the state that aren't at 8%. If
Right.
you ever went to 8% in Washington County, then that discussion would have a little bit more merit, I think, too.
And that's a combined state and county tax is what he's referring to.
Right, so if we went to 8% like the rest of the state, then that distribution math might be a legitimate conversation again.
So at this point, I wasn't thinking about the sales tax at the counter. So
Right.
I was thinking about the percentage rate of what comes into the county from.
It goes to the towns collectively. Yeah.
And I'm throwing my own little soapbox out there that if we were to standardize, because like I said, there's only 4 left at 8. If we ever went to 8, that would definitely open a conversation. The town sharing conversation would be a much different conversation at
How do they do that with the minute sales? As far as like clothing, you know, some opt out of clothing, some opt out of.
The retailer software supposedly is able to handle those.
Yeah, we don't.
The problem is it's based on zip codes, and this has been a battle of mine since I started this job.
But it's gotten better.
It's gotten better.
It's gotten a lot better.
We've issued residence cards to people in Buskirk and
And even for them,
you know, so we have Eagle Bridge, we have Buskirk, we have some different zip codes out there that we've tried, you know, I have a card that I give people if they need it. Tax and Finance finally has a jurisdictional lookup tool on their website where you as a taxpayer can go on. Because one of the things that surprised me when I first took office, it's not just the county getting shafted, for lack of a better term, on the sales tax going to Rensselaer County. The residents, even their insurances for their cars and their homes and stuff, the Rensselaer County risk pool was higher than Washington County. We found that they were actually paying higher insurance rates on their cars and homes and by their zip code. So they were able to get some better insurance rates and stuff just by proving they were a Washington County resident. And so we've had some successes, but it's an ongoing battle. We've got another little section Sam's aware of up in Fort Ann that's a Washington Warren. Now it's the same sales tax rate, but Warren County has a Warren County zip code. It's 7 and 7, but it's still where you have a problem there. So, and we have not been able to breach that hurdle. Tax and Finance has told me for years that if they use a little 4-digit extension, it helps. We're finding that that's not necessarily the case either. And it depends on the how good the software is of the retailer. So your mom and pop store might not have the same level of software as Amazon, right? So depending on what their software can handle, they can only do what they can. And some retailers, like when I deal with AT&T and Verizon, it's even more aggravating because they won't listen, period.
Since the Fort Edward zip code goes all the way to 17.
We're not gonna talk about that one because it goes.
Do we gain from that? Or is there a benefit?
Yes, Mr.
That
Chairman.
everybody's trying to. So maybe it's a wash thing. It's not as bad.
That's not a wash. It's
Not
definitely
a day and a half.
They got a lot more businesses.
I don't think we should entertain at all increasing our sales tax. Let's give our citizens a bit of a break, stop. When we're talking about, would we suspend the county portion of the gasoline tax? I'm like, oh, no. But yet tax people more? Oh, we might be interested in that. It's the opposite of what we should be doing.
Yeah, but I don't think that's.
that.
No.
Yes, this is how
the one person did, and he's not here anymore.
This
The
is how-
only person.
This is how the train leaves the station.
Who was suggesting that?
Mr. Albert, no left.
I was not advocating it.
I didn't see that.
No, someone's referring to the county share. So we use that.
I simply stated at 8%, the discussion might be different.
We get more money. Thank you.
The horse is dead. We're good. Thanks, Al. Okay.
I got more. Is that legal to say that? Is that legal to say that?
Yes. Why not?
One face is forward, one face is back.
Don't make me shoot.
Okay, resolution C is the county clerk's 0.4.2 grants others short $102. We need a motion to move that.
Motion.
Second by Councilman Darrell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Here. The next is the workers' count sheet. Right now, it looks real good, but like Al said, we have to dig into that and make sure everything's healthy. For the last year, it looks pretty good. Looks good.
Overall, the claims are down for 2021 compared to 2020. Argyle did have a carryover, which they're still paying on. But that's about it, yeah. For the most part.
Never left it.
Too bad there. Okay. You don't have to. prove that, right? To do it. Just for information.
So the towns will see this on their tax levy, and then the
And
buildings
counties.
get billed, right? Is that how-
Yep.
It comes out in the town tax rate, so. That's almost every year about, hey, wait a minute, I had a 0% increase, what happened?
Yeah. But that's how convoluted the whole thing is. It goes against the county tax.
Yes, it goes against our cap on your time. So
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense.
So it doesn't fit your, under the 2% cap, you can be up 10% on workers' comp and nobody has a question because you're under the cap. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
I have a question on work. I see Pleasant Valley is going down. At some point, there'll be zero and then there'll be no more.
Right.
Because there's a legacy to that. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
These are all existing older claims.
Their claims that we're still paying on, they will eventually go.
Maybe like next year because they're down.
It should be down significantly. We sold in
Well, yeah, but some
2014.
are paid yearly,
Right,
so it's as long as they're alive.
could be ongoing, unless they
I
settle,
don't know if
it could settle.
What? You don't remember the group that NICEAG brought in to get us to settle all those and we were gonna pay X number of dollars to make them go away and it was worth more to them right now. Yeah, we get fed those once in a while, so. Okay, the second floor chambers upgrade.
Yes, so we put out an RFP for the upgrade to the second floor chambers. We got one response to that RFP. At this point, I'd like to delay, I guess, the actual awarding of that. The information that received from the one vendor was lacking a lot of detail. I would say, so I talked to Terry yesterday. She reached out to the vendor. We just needed some clarity on their response. They aren't available to give us that clarity until next Wednesday, and they would like to meet with us either on Zoom or in person. So it's hard for me to request an award based on what they've provided us. So I'm not really comfortable with that at this point. I guess we can go two different ways, depending which you're comfortable with. We can either delay the award until next month. Unfortunately, by doing this, it delays the overall ordering of all the equipment for the upgrade and the whole process. Or upon receiving the clarity next week, hopefully if it's something Terry and I and maybe the work group that was involved in that initial meeting with the vendors, if we're comfortable at that point, bring it to the full board for the award if we didn't want to wait an entire month more. I guess it's whatever you're comfortable with.
And in either situation, we have to be comfortable with the fact that we pay up front, or that it's legal to pay up front, or the deadline goes by.
If this goes to the floor next Friday, we'll have that discussion.
Okay, so I just want to put that out there because the unavailability of all products that they're talking about, all products, not just some of them. They can't get anything at the moment. So you'd have to pay in advance. Now, the benefit of paying in advance is it's non-county dollars that would be paying for it. But if it's not legal, we can't do it. But we're gonna have an answer by then, we assume. So there's a lot of things. So the question right now is, do you want to have Melissa get all that together for next Friday, if it's available, bring it to the board, if it passes all our tests. If not, we'll delay the month. So everybody.
I'm comfortable with Melissa getting everything together and bringing it to the board if it meets the thresholds we've talked about already.
So do we want to pass that so the number's in the packet when it goes out and then we just pull it?
Well,
And
and
that's my question.
the other thing, in their response from the vendor, we have almost a $7,000 annual maintenance fee, which I want clarity on because we don't, obviously that would be an ongoing year to year, which we hadn't really planned on. And I don't even know what that even includes.
Okay.
So without that maintenance fee, it's a base price of $99,850. So that is under what we initially thought the cost would be, which again adds, that's why we have questions as to what this actually covers. If it's what meets our expectations for the upgrades.
Did you?
Yeah. Do you have any idea why no one else bid on it?
I only heard from one vendor, and that was just the difficulty that they have right now when they're seating the equipment.
Right, so everybody be in that same boat.
Yeah.
And so do the other vendors realize that they're gonna get paid for it up front?
Yes.
And secondly, where is this vendor from?
This vendor that responded, right, was Boston Spas Technical Building Services.
They were all,
Out of Boston.
they were all right here in New York. They were all reasonably local.
And when we met with the vendors, it was discussed the possibility of prepayment, but that was something that would have to be discussed with the board and approved on. So they were all there for that
Is
conversation.
that what you just advertised in the journal, or did you reach out to vendors?
Well, the purchasing department,
I'm just
It's their-
curious how.
Did it the
yeah,
normal way.
they.
I just
have a
find it
process.
strange that you only have one vendor bid on such a big project.
Well, they all came.
Oh, you had other ones.
They all came to the discussion and they asked great questions. It was very informative. I was intrigued by the questions they asked because it was really.
One other word, the objection was which would be sustained.
Overruled.
When they submitted, they give us the manufacturer's name and model number so we can check on
That's what we're.
That's
after.
some of the information we're gonna be
Yeah.
looking for. We didn't get any of that information in their
them.
response.
I'd like to know.
Okay,
That'd be very important.
okay.
It could be something from Taiwan that just manufactured.
Probably, it's all for all of the.
But
Taiwan would be,
Good China.
that would be a win. You got that.
Dave,
That would be-
Taiwan is the good
I was
China.
gonna say, that'd be a win.
Oh, you picked the wrong one.
Listen, can you explain that, $7,000 annual fee a little bit?
No, she's gonna find out.
That is one of the questions I have. I don't know what that is for.
There's software in their bid, so my assumption is it's maintenance for the software. You'll find out Wednesday.
So like licensing?
We
It
don't
just
know.
says annual maintenance, so I don't know what
We'll
that.
just have to find out.
And it's also obviously something we hadn't really anticipated, I don't think. So, yeah, right, exactly. And I don't know if it's something our IT department can maintain after we get it. So,
You divide it out as 580. So sounds like it's very friendly maintained. Yeah. Depends on the size of it.
The ability to you.
It's already the view.
Let's do it. It's gonna cost more than $7,000.
$583 a month isn't bad. That's one meeting. Okay. So we don't need any motions on that, or we do?
I'm not looking for an award, just, I guess, approval to bring it forward to the board meeting.
Okay, I need a motion to bring it in at that number, the 99.
Well, no, I'd rather not.
I'd rather not.
Yeah,
Just a motion to bring it forward when she's ready.
thank you.
Move by
Second.
Daryl.
Second.
Wouldn't you email information after you get it
Second
after
by
the meeting
Cassie.
prior to the work?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, yeah.
Second by Cassie.
That's your dad, right?
You're looking old today. All in favor, say aye.
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 I have no grounds.
Okay, and then we got the standard workday and reporting resolution, which you can see D. Pass this every year. Motion, Dave, second.
Second.
Cassie, any discussion? Dana?
I have to reload. This is more or less to Debbie, because Debbie, I think you're in charge of this. I looked at Sue's example, her work log. Very different from Mr. Nolan's, who was very detailed. And then I see the other ADAs, they kind of have a form like Mr. Nolan used, very detailed, and it says, 9 o'clock to 9:06, 6 minutes and stuff. But Sue's is just a calendar, 2 hours every single day. Can we do that lower standard of just Tuesday, the 3rd, 4 hours?
You're supposed to have hours in there, yes.
Just hours, but what about
No.
people have?
No, you're supposed to put 10, you're supposed to put like 10 AM to noon. or
That's what
whatever.
I thought.
You're supposed to put the actual time.
But if we approve Sue's, then we approve that we could, receive a lower standard than that.
That's why it was sent to you, so approve it or don't.
But I want to, I hate precedent, but if we approve that, the next time around, can I just do the same?
It'll be audited.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been others that have gone through like Sue, but a lot of them will at least have the time. 10 to 12 correspondence.
Well, I'm like, in one day you might have 2.2 hours, 1.8, not just 2, 3, 4 hours. Everything comes up. Huh?
I'm retired.
Yeah.
So,
The form that Mr. Nolan used is the form on the New York State returns.
okay.
It's the one that I asked that they please fill out.
Did you use any guidance on it, or did you say?
I just, I can do that if you need it done for.
I mean, I have actually put theirs in that file.
It's up to you, I mean.
So she signed it saying, this is what I did, so
Right.
we're basically saying,
It's kind of
Sue's
an
knowledge.
It's kind of an affidavit,
Yeah.
that way, that's not the wrong word, but,
Well, she's got to sign it. I brought her down the sheet because there's no signature.
I can sign it or not.
Put in an extra hour, another hour.
I have
All sorts of good stuff in here.
I have another question on this thing for Debbie. There's 14 supervisors listed here, so obviously 3 are not in the retirement system.
Correct, retired.
But there's the Fort Edward supervisor, there's an X. Is he in the system or is he not?
He's in the system and he has not submitted.
Okay. And how often do we have to redo? We can redo our work log whenever we want, but what is the minimum amount?
8 years.
8 years, because I know the rest of you, since COVID came around, if you've been a supervisor before COVID, I am doing a ton more work now because I think the crazies are coming out of the woodwork. And I respond to a lot more people, but I am way more busy.
Fired them up.
I'm way more busy now since COVID. Yes. Well, on all levels of the county, because people ask me questions on both. I get more questions about the county than the town, honestly, but people just aren't as distracted. So I said, I need to redo my workload. But if you have, in your town, if you have a great big project coming up, like some solar farm, there's gonna be a whole bunch of controversy over, you need to redo your workload. Because even though you may be this busy for 3 months, once in 8 years, that goes on to your work log, right?
Just be careful. Al Brown submitted his. He was 24/7 because he said he even thought about it at night, he was sleeping.
He buttered us. He thought about it, but at that time, Al Brown had more days than the county clerk.
And then we were open, yeah. Then we were open.
I think he had 31 days per month.
For example, this 2-hour meeting seems like it's 4.
More than an hour.
Nice. I like that, Roger.
He didn't tell me I was supposed to fill it out like that. I identify this meeting as being 3 hours long. Instead of an hour, right? You identify.
Well, I was hoping that we could accept Sue's like that, because next time around, I kind of want to be.
You want to be soon? You want to be soon? You want to be 2 hours? 2 hours.
About time.
I'd stop dyeing my hair.
Wow. Right what's left in the middle.
Well, you heard Sarah lost control of it.
This is the best meeting ever. Wait a minute. I don't want this to end. This is kumbaya. It's not. Okay. So, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, other business, and I see Matt Jones is here, so I know he has other business. Sure.
Did I miss something with the
That was the chambers. Yes.
Well, for the we're asking for the prepayment
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whether, I don't know if it would be something this committee could approve if they wanted to, or would that be part of the RFP award and put it in the resolution?
It'll have to be in the resolution for
For the prepayment.
for
But
this.
it's not just for that.
But it's really for anything in the
For all of-
heat our, we're gonna have to prepay in order to get stuff done. It
Right
just-
now, we have about $260,000 worth of items that may benefit if we can prepay for them.
They're all ordered,
They'll
it's
be
just where we
covered
get
under
them.
this program. Yes, that's the deadline. There was none.
We did not go that far, but we can.
So we made a motion to move it along, so we can deal with it next Friday, right?
Well, it's more than just a chamber.
It's more than just a
And I
change.
didn't know if the treasurer had, I thought he was still looking at the answers.
Yeah, you,
I will have.
well,
one
we still
for-
need, yeah, we need legal guidance. The treasurer is looking for legal guidance outside of Roger.
I'm getting mixed answers on the inappropriateness.
State always gives mixed answers.
Because there's a best practice and against the law. One is a little bit more strict than the other, obviously.
So building supplies are no, fuel, oil.
Well, we have a P card. We have the ability to order things now. We have that ability already. It would be things that we prepay for.
That don't show up till.
So if we prepay a vendor for his services, that's not normal. Buying the product isn't a problem. We do that all the time. What I'm trying to get clarification from the board on is the appropriateness and legality of prepaying on a contract. There's a big difference between legal and frowned upon.
If that was the case, couldn't you write a contract where you had separate out the labor from the material and agree to pay for the material?
The hindrance is this money's all gonna be spent by September, so we're running into it.
Also,
The window's closing.
Right.
I see, so you want to prepay out labor too.
This is, but where you win, it could be a contract where you just pay for the material and the services.
Right.
You could do. So I guess we really have to wait till Friday. But it was a great question and it really, we did need to get back to that.
Well, I mean,
So that was a good job.
That's the best.
Metro,
Out there, but here.
you're good.
Okay.
Wherever, just speak loud. Oh,
You can't see that.
that's right. We gotta see you.
Make a fisheye lens of this.
So at government ops, we talked about the possibility of leasing 346 Main Street for the public defenders, and we went over that and moved it forward to finance after I was able to negotiate with them, some lease agreement terms. I'm gonna just review the lease agreement terms and look for a resolution, or I guess it would probably be the chairman to sign a contract that Roger writes with these solid lines in it. Correct?
Yeah, to sign the lease.
Sign the lease. Sure. So the terms were $2,400 a month with a 2% annual escalator for the space. It's 2,400 square feet. It's a 10-year lease agreement, 3 years guaranteed. A 6-month notice of termination if the ILA money dries up. So if we get word that ILA money that's paying for the whole project to move there and paying for the lease dries up, we have 6 months. We can cancel it. We can cancel the lease.
Can I ask a question at that,
Sure.
for that point?
Yep.
Will we get a 6-month notice from ILA, or could we get a 3-month notice and then we're paying more than ILA is giving us?
Right. It could be more than, it could be 3 months more. We could be paying for that lease for 3 months more.
But you don't know.
The 6-month
You don't
lease.
know how
is-
much of a notice ILA would give us.
No, but we
Is there a benefit?
we do negotiate the contract, right? So we would know ahead of time. And right now, the 3-year part is because it's a 3-year contract. So that's why I can put in there like it's a 3-year guarantee.
It's gonna take you that amount of time to find someplace else to put it, because as soon as they need here, those things are gonna fill up, like it's nobody's business with something else. It'll take you 6 months to figure out what to
They
do.
won't be coming home.
Right.
Okay, so we may cost more than what we get from ILA. May, possibly.
Possibly. We're trying to protect ourselves the best way possible from that with this. And then into the details, maintenance like snow removal is covered, lawn care, parking lot maintenance, facility repairs, and any other maintenance of the property or buildings infrastructure that aren't removable at the end of the lease are his responsibility. HVAC is included. Any maintenance specific to our, operation, which is the IT part of it, desks, chairs, garbage removal, cleaning, right, electricity, the utilities are.
Is the heat provided by the HVAC? Or is there a separate heat?
We will pay we will pay the meter. But we're gonna be paying the heat and all the utilities.
But you said HVAC.
The HVAC repairs, sorry. HVAC repairs. Yes, air conditioning goes down, furnace goes down, that's on him. That's a building infrastructure that doesn't leave with us. The plumbing is his. Any infrastructure that doesn't move, like if we walk out of there and it stays, or it's there when we get there, is his.
General terms of fixture.
Fixture. Everybody else, right. That's the lease, I think. That's the lease terms. So, I haven't got that far, but yeah, the utilities, IT, electric, water, heating would be responsibility of us. And as far as insurance and liabilities, end of it, that's Roger's
We're all
profession.
gonna have insurance on each for each other.
Right.
That will all be a regular insurance we have here for everybody anyway, right?
Well, we've got to list that, list that premises.
Yeah.
and Additional insurance back and forth, and all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty standard.
So the one thing we had in ILA money budgeted,
It's ILS, just to
ILS.
clarify, yeah.
well, I wrote it wrong. That's now I'm gonna say it wrong forever, right? It's stuck.
We were both from Hartford.
We had an estimated between like IT and our stuff, I think 50,000 of ILA money, ILS money. I don't see how it's
Indigent legal services.
Yes.
How about their money?
their money.
There you
To do this. I just talking to Terry, I think IT part of it is like $12,000, I think was the estimate. He does have an issue, the same thing with timelines on the materials to get it there. So I was thinking September 1st, by the time we go through this is the lease date, by the time we actually remodel everything. I'm thinking that's gonna be all right, but that could be a delay of the actual move up there. The longest holdup could be the IT or the IT hardware. And as far as purchasing, I don't think there's anything because it's all state contract stuff, just like us when we're doing remodel. I think we're spending up to 50,000 ILS money to remodel it. What was the monthly? 2,400. Almost 2,200.
So that I can.
What's the $12 a square foot a year?
What's the dollar?
Well, 12 a year. Right. It's $1 a square foot a month or $12 a year. Right. And then at least
I do it right.
Yeah, you're both right. Yes.
Pretty good. So it's about
Security of the building.
We would key our own doors, just like we do anything here. In that 50,000, we haven't decided whether it's worth it. There would be really two doors, whether we buy a two-door fob system and fob it. That'd be up to the department or not, whether we just use keys.
And under wellness, they can run if they have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of equipment costs, so we'll have to have duty lot. I would say it's no matter, you just moving it out of these building.
So there is stuff that is moving from here. I think within this money budgeted is some new desks and chairs, that sort of stuff that we move up and we keep what they have, what they're using here for other uses. I think we're going to maximize the ILS money as much as we can, because that all comes back. Any desk we buy, the things that won't come back are walls, electrical wiring, carpet, that stuff won't come back at the end of the lease. But like IT's, equipment, that'll come back, like all the stuff that she's buying. That, so if we went somewhere else, that would just move with the people.
Now, we had talked about, I think with Mike, that we would have just administrative, right? Just 2 staff members still here in this building from
I
public.
think we have.
So we're hoping to give that, if we're renting this facility, I think that we're hoping to give them just the smaller office right now. It freed up the 2 bigger offices.
So that would be, yes, this would free up the top of the stairs where the old personnel was. That's where most of it, and then down where the old safety office is, where the old board elections is, that would stay. That part of their operation.
They still need the entire board of elections, the old office board of elections, that entire area, because that's really large. Yeah.
Well, they have, I think they have close to 15, you know, they have a lot of, I don't have the numbers in front of me for that question. Yeah, there's.
I mean, I
There's
thought
like
we
2
were,
or 4 staying. Why? This is for 15.
Well, up there, no, there isn't. There isn't room for all 50. Yeah. No, they don't have, I don't know their staffing pattern, but.
I mean, our hope is to get as many of that
Right, but
department.
we've never discussed moving that, where Mike is now, where Mike actually sits office and that staff was planning, that's staying. The stuff at the top of the stairs, that whole suite there would be what's moving. And the old safety office and past that would be moving, yes.
We'll have to clarify that.
Big space where Mike's office is, and he plans on staying there.
I don't know, maybe the Mike saying there, this is what we. So he has identified certain. This is lawyers, and then it's mostly lawyers that are moving and 2 support staff for the lawyers.
Yeah, Matt, I got a question. Hey, Matt, you know, we're doing renovations. So some of that's going to stay. We're adding value to the owner in terms of that building. You think we got the value out of that in this contract?
Yeah, I negotiated him down to that, from his asking price to that, for that reason.
Okay.
I use that, between government ops and now, I use that as leverage for negotiating the $12 a year, $1 a month square foot price.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we're going to replace light bulbs and stuff like that inside, so he doesn't have to have access to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Most landlords do have emergency access to the building, and no different than buildings and grounds does here. You know, in emergencies, they do have to get in.
On notice, because of the sensitive stuff that's being
Right.
dealt with. So
Right, on notice.
There's a pretty strict, I wrote in a pretty strict notice.
Yeah, check. Who's in there and all the chair moving? That's that doesn't.
I would, that's right.
irrelevant.
And that might be a good reason to have a fob up there, you know, and then you give them access, you'll know who goes in and out. That's becoming standard.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. All the office moves and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great.
I guess my only concern now, I mean, was Melissa's question, because that was,
Well, it's something
we've never
Yeah.
talked about.
It makes sense to give them some kind of workspace over here.
Right.
Because you got, say, 45 minutes between court, it doesn't make sense that they can get back
That's
in your car, put on all your stuff, drive back up there. So you can zip over here, if they need to meet with the client after court or something, you know, not a lot of space in the courtrooms to do that. They can come over here, they have a, you know, like one of those temp spaces, you know, you see office sharing kind of thing where you can sit with the client, you can meet them, you got a half an hour before your next day, you can come over here and
They were-
do something.
That's right. They were all concerns of Mike at Rogers, and they were, we've talked about it.
So if we get an opportunity to move them all out.
Well, down the road, you know, in the next 3 years of this contract, if more space opens up there would be enough to move the whole staff there, you know, if it did open up and it was working out for us and we could, you know, see financially that they were gonna pay for it. But that's not on the table right now anyway, so there's no sense of going down that road.
Matt, when you're all said and done, on 2,400 square feet, how many persons are moving into that 2,400 square feet?
Right now, there's 8.
8 will move into that. And how many square feet does it free up over here?
It's I think it's almost
it's less. And the reason why it's less is we don't really have the space right now, but we're trying to remodel that to get enough lawyers into that space now, and we just couldn't do it.
No, I'm just trying to come up with.
So let me just say probably 1,800.
Okay.
And it's
No,
supposed,
that's,
and
I
it's,
can get a picture of that. when
well,
you
and
do
it's
it that
supposed to
way.
be enough to move one unit from DSS upstairs, right?
We had talked.
Well, that's
So,
one option.
we had to have an opportunity of somebody to take the space. Otherwise, there's no point moving them out if you got space nobody can use. So we needed to find space big enough to get enough people out, so the space we had left would actually move a group. We seem to have accomplished that, I think we have at this point.
Matt, you're the space manager, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Matt. I'm glad you could do that.
It's a bad job. Nobody likes you.
We don't have a flag for space. Force.
Yeah.
Nobody likes you when you're a space manager.
I know. Well, that's okay, but you're the space manager, so I'm good with you making the call on the
That's right.
space. And Roger, if the practical application of their duties requires them to have a little bit of swing space in this area so that they can get the job done, then we ought to look at that. Thanks.
Did you move that, Daryl? Is that what you said? We moved this forward?
So moved.
Okay, Daryl moved it for second. Kathy, two. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Matt. Do we have any other business? Is that all the others?
He's about the building.
We didn't have any environment stuff.
So it's way at the other end.
I mean, update the property, the planning board.
We were gonna bring up. We were gonna bring up, we need to go over on the quotes. Do it now. For the, yeah. We talked about it, but we didn't pass that actual. Okay, so we have two things left. First of all, we need to amend the staffing back to non-union salary schedule for the SBO. We have to.
Really? They're fighting?
Yeah, because of the numbers. Move by Dave, second by Matt, vice versa. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the second thing was, because everything's backed up, when you put stuff out for quotes, you sign the quote back in April, then the product comes in June and July, and there's sometimes now there's surcharges on things. We can't do much about that. If you want the product, you have to pay the surcharge. We had one come in, I think it was a trailer in DPW, was $321.96, if that's off the top of my head from yesterday. Yeah, that's correct. So we basically have informed Stacy to let department heads know. I know Melissa's going to talk to department head meetings. Anything over 3 1/4, it's going to come to the board. The board's going to decide whether we're paying it or not. This was a case where they had the trailer already, needed it, whatever. We moved on. It should be very minute number of things that happens with, because things that are actually bid, the bid price is the bid price. So it's only going to more than likely show up on quotes and certain things. Hopefully this is one and done, but there could be a couple more. I just wanted everybody to know that we took care of it this way, but just so everyone knows. Anything else that's more than 3 1/4 is coming to the full board, or at least to finance, or to their appropriate department, committee. That's it. So thank you, everyone. Unless you got anything else, you're good, Johnny.
Have a good day, everybody.
Good day. See you, John.